amazing adaptations. So as I've already mentioned, this is the largest penguin pool in England, and it's currently home to over 60 individual penguins of 3 different species. Around the world you get 18 different species of penguin, and they range in size from the enormous emperor penguin, which stands at about 4 feet tall, right down to the little blue penguin, also sometimes called the fairy penguin, and they measure a very tiny 1 foot tall. The ones we have here are Hong penguins from the coastal regions of Peru and Chile, black-footed penguins from the beaches of South Africa, and finally our very special rockhopper penguin, who would normally be found in the Falkland Islands. So now everybody out in the audience, this is your chance to join in. I'm going to count to 3, and then I need all of you to shout out as loudly as you can what you think our penguins like to eat. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh dear, do you know what? There's about 1 million of you here today. I'm sure you can be a bit louder than that. We're going to have to try that again. After 3, what do penguins like to eat? 1, 2, 3.
Hey!
Much better that time. I definitely heard a nice loud fish, and you are absolutely right. Penguins love to eat fish, and that makes up about 80% of their diet. The remaining 20% would be things like squid and some crustaceans, things like crabs, and in particular they like to eat something called krill, which is a bit like tiny little shrimp. But as you can see, today we have got lots of fish for our penguins. Some of this is being dropped right down underneath the water, and this is encouraging the penguins' natural behaviour, because of course out in the wild penguins would have to dive to find their food, and penguins are all fantastic divers. In fact, some of the larger species, like those elephants I mentioned earlier, have been diving as deep as 500 metres under the water. And while they're diving, they've also got fantastic underwater vision to help them find their food. However, diving ability and underwater vision aren't the only adaptations that these guys have for a life in the water. For example, they've also got 2 layers of feathers. So there's the outer layer that we can see, and that's a nice waterproof layer to allow the penguins to dive for long periods of time. And then underneath that, they've also got a nice thick insulating layer to keep them warm at all temperatures. Now, you've probably already noticed that all of our penguins, and in fact all penguins worldwide, are black and white. Now, not only does this make them look extremely smart, ready for a last-minute dinner party invitation, but it's also a special form of camouflage that we call counter-shading. Now, our penguins might not look all that camouflaged here at Penguin Beach today. However, if you imagine that you were out in the sea swimming with penguins, they're in the water looking ever so agile and graceful, and out on land, when we do tend to find them a little bit comical, the way they waddle around and look a tiny bit clumsy. They really are just so well adapted to being in the water. Even those wings have evolved to be more like flippers, and these can propel the penguins through the water at speeds of up to 25 kilometres per hour. So now we know a little bit more about penguins in general. We'll just have a closer look at the different types that we've got here. Now, the vast majority